We start with breaking new details surrounding a soldier who fell to his death during a routine free-fall training exercise south of the valley.
The soldier was Master Sergeant Nathan Goodman from North Carolina. Team 12's Tram Mai is here with us live in Studio 12A with the late-breaking details. Tram?
Yeah, guys, the Master Sergeant was here in Arizona from North Carolina for the routine training near Eloy. The 36-year-old was born in Pasadena, California, and grew up near Chicago before enlisting in 2002. The Army promoted Goodman to Master Sergeant last July, making him the operations team sergeant for a Special Forces group. Members of those groups are really the best of the best in the Army who complete sensitive, tactical operations. Goodman also served as an instructor for the Airborne Special Warfare Training Group. Those who served along with Goodman say Nathan was a beloved member of 3rd Special Forces Group and an exceptional leader in the special operations community. And their heartfelt condolences go out to his family. Master Sergeant Goodman died during a training exercise near Eloy, which is south of Casa Grande off I-10. People living in neighboring Arizona City catching helicopters in the air after that incident. Tonight, the Army will only say that it's investigating what happened. Now, over his career, Goodman completed 4 deployments to Afghanistan, 1 to Iraq, 2 to Africa, and 1 to Kyrgyzstan. He was highly decorated, receiving numerous awards. We'll have much more on this breaking story throughout the night on the 12 News app and tonight on 12 News at 10. Guys, back to you.
All right, Tram, thank you.